Congratulations. So,
Thank
Doug,
you.
what type of companies and professionals join as member with the Global Chamber? My audience would like to know, like, uh, what type of companies would do you have in your membership base?
So there's three main groups. So the main focus and the target that we look for Global Chamber are exporters. And within that group, we would also lump in importers and cross-border investors. So that's the main group. It's the actual people doing business across borders. Those are our peeps. That's the global tribe focus for Global Chamber. So we help them do their international business. The second layer around that are service providers. So these are the banks and the lawyers and consultants of every ilk that want to meet the exporters, want to meet the importers, want to meet the cross-border investors because they have a service that they often don't know about, but they can benefit from. So that's the kind of the second tier, and then the third tier are groups that would be a variety. So it's universities and economic development organizations within cities and provinces and states and countries, and a variety of other people who are kind of the part of the ecosystem. So together, the core group that are led by exporters, the secondary group are the service providers, and then the other group, that's what we call the global tribe. So the people like you, Jagat, who walk through life with your international filter, and almost everything you see is through that cross-cultural, cross-border filter. Most people in the world don't have that. They have a
Correct.
very local focus. You have that global perspective, and one of the reasons why we collaborate so well. So thank you for all you do, and thank you for the appreciation for that basic model of helping
No.
people be more successful. The world is a tricky place, and it's harder to do that work overseas. And so our vision and our mission is, how do we make selling across borders just as easy as selling across the street? Even easier, and I think it can be.
True, absolutely. You on the dot you mentioned, and I mean those three layers which you mentioned covers very wide range of companies. So that is quite interesting. So Doug, if you have to say three things, if someone wants to be a member, what are the three things they benefit?
So number one, and first and foremost, it's always been a key part of Global Chamber is we want to understand your business. So we always have an onboarding conversation. And when we onboard, we're asking primarily, who are you targeting as a client? Who do you want? And so we actually have about a 3-page questionnaire that we have on our side. We don't bother the members with that, but we use that 3-page to really dig deep onto understanding that. So we have a network of 35 million people around the world that we can introduce our members to. The key then is two things. One is keep growing that network of people that we know. And number two is, as members come on, let's understand who they want to meet and make those introductions. So if they're in India and they want to grow into Europe and they have a certain type of product and a certain type of company that they want to be introduced to, we make the warm introduction. So number one is the warm introduction. And this beats all of the cold stuff that happens out in the world. The warm
Absolutely.
introduction doesn't guarantee a sale, but 90% of the time there's at least a conversation. And that's really all most businesses want, is just give me a
Absolutely.
chance to tell people what we're doing and to match it up with what somebody needs. And invariably a sale happens over time. So that's by far number one. Number two, especially for service providers, is exposure. So they very often, even I've had Bank of America tell me, "Hey, not enough people know what we do." It's like, wow, if Bank of America has that challenge,
Right.
imagine what a law firm with a few lawyers or a variety of other anybody that has a service. Most people don't know what people do, and they
Yes.
end up making a lot of either mistakes or errors of omission because they didn't know about that financing program. They didn't know that you could do that with your exports. They didn't know that you have to do certain things with compliance relative to those products. And so the the exposure of service providers to the exporters and the community is critically important. And then, last but not least is being part of the global tribe. So to your point, there's really no other organization that holistically looks at people who are thinking cross-border and have a community of people who are helping each other grow their business. There's nothing like it. The closest thing, and actually one of my inspirations, was Thunderbird School of Global Management. They do a really good job of getting their graduates to be very close to each other and connected to each other. And one of the things that always really impressed me, they used to have a campus in Glendale, Arizona. And Glendale, Arizona is probably the least international place you'd ever want to be. There's like nothing international there, except Thunderbird was there. So you'd go onto this campus that you kind of drive off, you find eventually this road that was called Global Way, and then now you're on this other world place where everybody's global, everybody's from somewhere else, everybody's talking about international, everybody has a passion for global, and then you leave and you're back into society, back into that place where nobody cares. They're only cared about local. So when I saw that, I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great to have something like that more holistically, where, yeah, Thunderbird is amazing. People should go to Thunderbird, but what if you don't go to Thunderbird? I didn't go to Thunderbird, and I feel that way. Why can't others do that as well? And so those were some of the things that our members get. And so being part of the global tribe is not trivial, because the other people that are around you know global business. They love global business. They're passionate about global business. They want to help you with your global business, and that's an important thing.
Amazing, right. In fact, to all my audience, I would like to tell that I have myself personally benefited with a lot of introductions from Global Chamber. So these warm introductions, which Doug mentioned about, they work amazing, because people do business with people first. So the moment there is an introduction from someone, then it goes to the company, then it goes to the product or service, and then it is price. So people to people referencing and connectivities, I have personally benefited, so I can vouch for that. Thank you for that explanation, Doug. So, Doug, what is your most memorable success story, example of Global Chamber from members' point of view? It stands out in your mind.
Sure. There's every day is fun at Global Chamber, because every day we get to see success and create more success. But thinking about that, one of my favorite examples is actually a very hot business right now, telemedicine. So telehealth, is a great example of an industry and a technology that was a no-brainer, is a no-brainer. We should have used telemedicine before, but here, sort of like Global Chamber, I think, to some extent, right? It's like, yeah, you should be doing this. But now that you can't meet people in person, you can't get on a plane and fly somewhere very easily, telemedicine makes a lot of sense. And so one of our members, Global Med, they were interested in, and they continue to be interested in, new countries. And so we made an introduction to someone I've known for a long time in Argentina, the #1 health system within Argentina. So this seemed natural, right? A telemedicine company from the US hooked up with Argentina, where they have a passion for new technology, and they were very interested in this. And so they start working together. It starts moving forward. Success, right? So, except here's the other element of Global Chamber that I want to share. It's more than just the warm introduction. So maybe 2 or 3 months, maybe 4 months later, I get a call from Argentina. Doug, we need to talk. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, anytime. So he's on I think it was a WhatsApp call. He says, we've got a big problem. Things are off the track. They're not listening to us. They're way behind on schedule. And so a litany of things. It's like, oh my God. Okay, so now, and I'm sure this way, Jagat, if you've made an introduction to somebody, you're kind of in there, right? You want to make sure that they're both legit, and they're real people, and you don't want anything to go wrong. And so I I call the CEO of the telemedicine company on my cell phone right away after the call. It's like, Joel, we got a problem. He's a, what? I can't believe it. I thought everything was going well. So lo and behold, after a couple days of sorting through, there were some issues. Over several weeks, there were things that were done back and forth between Argentina and the US. And it turned out the US company ended up, not within those weeks, but within a couple months, fired a couple people. There were some things that were not
Oh,
quite right going
okay.
on, not unethical, but things that were not being listened to. And so fast forward a couple, 3 months, I start hearing positive signs that things are back on track. And lo and behold, they did launch successfully. Both the companies involved are amazing, but there was some project challenges that happened, and we got involved to make sure that it was a successful project, and both members are happy, and actually both members just renewed in the last couple months. So those are the kinds of things we do get involved with. We mentioned about warm introductions, but we really care about the companies and we want them to succeed.
Very nice, very interesting example. Because yeah, you are right. The moment you do an introduction, it also becomes a moral responsibility to see to it that it reaches its conclusion. And whenever there are any hurdles, and this is something which generally other chambers do not do. This is what I have seen. The chambers do not play that role. So this is the most, I think, very, very another powerful angle of global chamber.